First thing we realize from David is that godly men know that their days are numbered. Godly men know that their days are numbered. Psalm 90 and verse 1 says, "Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom." That's powerful, isn't it? What is David saying here? Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. He's saying that when we begin to truly realize our mortality, there's a kind of wisdom that we will get. It's amazing how much focus we get. I don't know all the middle-aged men in the room, but there's a focus we get as we get to middle age that you don't have at other stages in your life. When I was in my 20s, I never got a call from the doctor. Now, from time to time, I get a call from the doctor. Why? Because I'm not young anymore, and so things don't always function quite as they should. Although I recommend leaning on the Lord for healing and good health and long life. But nevertheless, we come to a place as we get older where we realize that life has an end. That life has an end for us. I don't think we really always realize that when we are young. We kind of vaguely know that we also die, but it doesn't really hit home. And yet it says here in Psalm 90 and verse 12, "Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Hallelujah. Psalm 39 verses 4 and 5, "Show me, Lord, my life's end and the number of my days. Let me know how fleeting my life is. You have made my days a mere handbreadth. The span of my years is as nothing before you. Everyone is but a breath." Teach us to number our days. Let me know. A godly man knows this reality. He lives his life with the knowledge that he doesn't have forever. He lives his life with the knowledge that I only have a certain amount of time to build a legacy, to prepare something for the next generation. Our days are set. It says in Psalm 90 verse 10, "Our days may come to 70 years or 80, if our strength endures. Yet the best of them are but trouble and sorrow, for they quickly pass and we fly away." That's a reality that all men have to face, but facing it is an important building block if we are to be godly men who leave not just a legacy, but a good legacy. Psalm 103 says, "The life of mortals is like grass. They flourish like a flower in the field. The wind blows over it, and it is gone, and its place remembers it no more." Remember that your days are numbered. Well, now, when we talk like that, sometimes someone will say, you don't have to be morbid. Let's not think about such things. If I talk about my mortality, someone will say, well, now don't speak such words over your life. Listen, death is an inevitable thing. But there's good news. Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 11 says that God has placed eternity in the heart of man. We are, as far as I know, we are the only creature on the earth that is capable of understanding something like our own mortality. I've had the occasional pet dog, and I don't think my dogs have ever gone around considering the nature of life or the brevity of life. They just want to know what can I eat? Or, something of that sort. Are we going for a walk? But we are the only creature on the earth that can actually consider the fact that we have mortality. But thank God, because he hasn't just put into us that knowledge of our mortality, but according to Ecclesiastes 3 here, he has put eternity in the heart of man. And that means this, that we are capable of knowing that there is more than this. And generally speaking, when I speak to people around, most people seem to have a grasp that there is something outside of this existence. There is something more. I watch a lot of podcasts. I don't know about you. But now one thing they're talking about a lot is, are we living in a simulation? The answer's no. We can move on. No more need to make any more podcasts. We are not living in a simulation. We are living in a world that God has made. But why are people asking questions like, are we living in a simulation? Are we just part of some big video game that someone has created? Why do people ask those kind of questions? Well, they ask them because God has put eternity in the heart of man, and men ask themselves this question because they know there is something more. There's something more than what we see. And so we have these two things side by side. One is the sense of our own mortality, and most people deal with it by avoiding it. Hebrews 2 and verse 15 tells us that, people, that Jesus saved us, but we've been in bondage all our lives through the fear of death. Most people deal with that by burying it. If I say to one of my unsaved relatives, talking about life, and just say, have you considered, the brevity of life? They'll say, oh, we don't think about those things. You need to just live your life. Don't be morbid. Push that aside. That's how the world deals with the reality of their mortality. But a godly man looks it in the face and says to himself, I have just a few years. I have just a short time. And he can face it because God has put eternity in the heart of man. He realizes that there is more than this, and he has discovered what it is. He has discovered that something more is Jesus. He has discovered that something more is a God who loves us, and he has realized that there is something that comes next. That there is more than just this life. There is a new beginning in a new creation, and that what we do in this life is simply building a legacy. Godly men know that their days are numbered. They consider that. They don't just close their ears to it. One of the things that I noticed when I was in Kenya a lot, when you attend someone at their deathbed, is you would literally see someone physically trying to fight off death. Have you ever seen that? Someone literally in their last moments trying to fight off death because it is so terrifying to them. It is so terrible to them. Refusing to face it, refusing with no ability to embrace that reality that life has an end. But the godly man knows, and he faces it square on, because it becomes it becomes part of the truth that informs your decisions. Again, I watch way too many podcasts, but now I saw a man the other day, and he was talking on a podcast. He was a doctor or something of that sort, and he was saying he was saying to the man that was interviewing him that now they are considering that death is just another disease and that given enough time they'll be able to cure it. We know that that's not true. Why do you think they're trying to live forever? Because they don't know what a godly man knows. That a man is destined to live once and then the judgment. That what we do in this life counts more than you could possibly imagine. Because actually life is not short, it's actually long.